Thanks for joining us today. You are watching SNN5, and today we are taking some time,
more than 5 minutes, to honor and thank our veterans.
Today is Monday, November 9th, 2020.
Wednesday the 11th is a federal holiday in observation of Veterans Day.
Let's take some time to learn more about what this day means and how we should honor our veterans.
You will hear from the Skyridge staff members who are sharing what Veterans Day means to them.
We thank you for sharing your stories with all of us.
First, we'll have a raising of the flag ceremony,
followed by the singing of our national anthem.
Color guard forward march. Color guard attention. Scout hand salute. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Prepare to post the flags. Color guard about face. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. 2.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We want to take this opportunity to tell you 5 things you should know about Veterans Day. First off, it is not Memorial Day.
Americans get these days confused.
Veterans Day in November and Memorial Day in May.
Memorial Day is a time to remember those who gave their lives for our country,
particularly in a battle or from wounds they suffered in the battle. Memorial Day is a time to honor the fallen by visiting cemeteries or memorials.
Veterans Day honors all of those who have served the country in war or peace, living or dead.
It's largely intended to thank the living veterans for their sacrifices and service to our nation.
Good morning, Skyhawks, and happy Veterans Day. What a great opportunity we have today to remember the many military veterans that we have throughout our lives and around us and in our country. And I just want to say a really big thank you to all of our veterans, past and even our present military members. And I want to say thank you because without your sacrifices and your time given to our country, I know for a fact that we wouldn't be enjoying the many pleasures that we have and freedoms that we have here in the United States of America. I know personally I have many veterans in my family, dating all the way back to the U.S. Civil War, where my great-grandfather fought for the Union during that war, as well as modern day nephews that are currently in the military. So thank you, veterans. I can't think of a better way to start our day than to honor the great veterans of our country. So thank you. And
this is Mrs. Davis, and this is my pop. He was a Marine in the Korean War, and so he went over to Korea to engage in battle, but thankfully it ended before he actually got out in combat. So he came home safely. We're all thankful for him and all the veterans that serve our country. So thank you.
Fact number 2, we will introduce as a question. Do you know what Veterans Day was originally called? It was originally called Armistice Day, celebrating the end of World War I, which officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. The fighting ended about 7 months before that when the Allies in Germany put into effect an armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11, 1918 was largely considered the end of, quote, the war to end all wars, unquote, and called Armistice Day.
Hey Skyridge, it's Mr. Hunting here. We're talking about Veterans Day and why it's important to us. The first thing that comes to mind to me, and there's many reasons, is my uncle, Larry, my mom's brother. Known him my whole life, obviously, and he was served in Vietnam. He did 4 tours in Vietnam and worked his way up to be a drill sergeant in the Army, and then joined the Marines, worked his way up to become a drill sergeant also in the Marines. And then by the time I got to high school, he joined something called Special Forces. And we were never really quite sure where he was or what he was doing. And that's just a part of the job. But that kind of opened my mind to all of the women and men in service and what they do for us, for you and I to be able to do what we can do. So it just became a little bit more present for me. So with that, happy Veterans Day. Appreciate you.
Veterans Day, I want to say thank you to former Skyhawk and my son, Corporal Cooper Eisenhower Hettinger. Thank you so much for your service and all you do.
Hi, Skyhawks. Mrs. Amundson here. I'm very excited to give a heartfelt thank you to all of the veterans that have served past and present. My dad and my father-in-law were both in the Air Force and had all kinds of adventures and stories to share. So I just want to say thank you to them. Thank you to all of the veterans past and present. And also thank you to the families, because it's a big family commitment as well. And so thank you for everything that the veterans and the families have done. And we all really appreciate you serving and taking your time to help continue to protect all of our freedoms here in the United States of America. So happy Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is a well-known American holiday, but there are a few misconceptions about it, like how it's spelled or whom exactly it celebrates.
Fact number 3. Get rid of the apostrophe. It does not belong in Veterans Day. What's the right way to spell Veterans Day? That little apostrophe shows possession, like Jack's jacket. But a lot of people think it's Veteran apostrophe S Day or Veterans apostrophe Day.
The holiday is not a day that belongs to one veteran or multiple veterans, which is what the apostrophe means. It's a day for honoring all veterans, so no apostrophe needed. Let's move on to fact number 4.
Hi, Skyridge. Mr. Schlaugh here. I just wanted to share why I feel it's important to celebrate and honor our veterans. When we think about all of the civil rights and the liberties that we have and the direction that we're going and the right to protest and the right to do all of these great things that we have, it's important to stop and think that Veterans Day isn't just about the wars in the last 100 years. We have to go back all the way back to the 1600s and 1700s when this country was just being founded, and people stood up to tyranny and said no and fought back and won the rights of the people that lived in this country to make it what it is today, to make it such a great place to live. So it's important to stop and realize that if it wasn't for veterans, if it wasn't for people in the past and the present and the future going forward, standing up and being willing to fight for what they feel is important and for what we love as a country, then it wouldn't be the place that we all love to either love or hate or argue over or celebrate in parades and however we choose to do it. So from me to all veterans, I just want to make sure I stop and say thank you.
Hey Skyhawks, Mr. Altmiller here. Wanted to share my gratitude for our military service personnel on this Veterans Day. we want to have a grateful heart, and I'm so grateful for all the veterans in my life and all those that have served our country. I truly appreciate my freedoms, and I know I'm a very fortunate individual to live where I live and to have the support of such a great military keeping us safe. So a couple of veterans in my life. One of them is my dad was a veteran. He never talked about it. I actually didn't know he was a veteran until I was in high school, and he was very private about it, but he served in the Army. I had a neighbor guy named Frank who served in the military for 20 years. He was an older gentleman that was very private. But as I got to know him more, he would share a little bit of his stories and experiences, and he would tell me a little bit, and then he would just be done. But I know how it impacted him, and I so appreciate his service to our country. And I also used to work on fire crews for about 12 years, way back when I was a young one. But you can see over my shoulder here, I have a picture of forest fires. And I got that actually from the year of 2000 when there were lots of forest fires. But many of the helicopter pilots and actually some of the people on my crews, my fire crews, were veterans, served in the military. And they were amazing individuals. And I'm so thankful that they served our country. And I'm so thankful this Veterans Day.
Hi there, Skyhawks. My name is Mrs. Allen, and those of you who have had me as a teacher probably know that my husband is in the armed services. He has been in the Army National Guard for 19 years. I think about 14 years of that have been active duty, and he was serving overseas when our son was born. So we are definitely a veteran family. I also, my father-in-law, my husband's dad, he served in the Vietnam War. So when Veterans Day rolls around, it's a pretty big deal. And something that I found out recently is that veterans really appreciate it when you tell them, thank you for your service. So instead of saying Happy Veterans Day, because sometimes not so happy memories related to, being at war, something like that. So people who have served and sacrificed really, really appreciate hearing from their fellow country people. They really appreciate hearing thank you for your service. And that just makes them feel appreciated and lets them know that their sacrifices have been worth it. So this week, at some point, especially on Wednesday, on Veterans Day, highly recommend you make a phone call, send a text, and let the people in your life who have served in the military, let them know how much they're appreciated by saying thank you for your service.
Fact 4. There are 17.4 million veterans in the United States, according to the most recent statistics from the U.S. Census.
Veterans represent approximately 7% of the total U.S. adult population.
Currently, 9 in 10 veterans are men, but that is changing.
Only 9% of all military personnel are female, but by 2045, that number is expected to more than double.
Those of you that played chess in the LMC on Tuesdays might recall Mr. John Dove, who is a Vietnam veteran.
Gulf War era veterans now account for the largest share of all U.S. veterans,
surpassing Vietnam era veterans in 2016, according to Veteran Affairs.
As of last year, there were 6.8 million American veterans who served during the Vietnam era,
and 7.1 million who served in the Gulf War area, which spans from August 1990 through the present.
Hi students, Mr. Condon here. On Veterans Day, I like to think back and reflect on what made us a free country. And that was these men and women that gave their lives, and many of them died in battle so we could be a free country. And I think we lose track of understanding what that truly means. It means we're free because people were willing to give up their lives for that freedom. So I don't have any veterans in my family, but I have a deep respect for veterans because growing up, it was always told to us how important it is to respect these veterans and the ones that fought for our country. So what do you do about it? Well, I learned at a very young age from my grandfather that what you can do on Veterans Day is you can shock a veteran, you can make them cry. And all you have to do that is you walk up to them and you simply say thank you. That's all. They'll know what you're talking about. Just say thank you. Shake their hand if you can. You'll make their day and you'll feel better too. So give it a shot. I challenge you. Find a veteran. They're the ones that have the hats on, that have the yellow that says veterans. They're out there. They're walking around with them on Veterans Day. So I challenge you, I challenge me every year. just say thank you.
Hi, Skyhawks. I'm Mrs. Richards, and I'm the art teacher here at Skyridge. And I just wanted to talk about the November 11th holiday coming up. It's Veterans Day. And Veterans Day is something that I really take to heart and I think is very important. The people that serve in the armed forces are really, really brave, and they sacrifice so much for us. They travel, they miss their kids' birthdays, they miss holidays, they miss important things that are going on in their own life to do a job for our country. My father was a Navy man. My father-in-law and my sister were both in Army, and my son will be active Army in less than 2 years. And so I appreciate them. And I just want to say, when you see a veteran, or if you know a veteran, reach out and say thank you. Thank you for doing the important job of keeping our country safe. We appreciate your bravery and we appreciate your sacrifice.
Fact number 5. We're not the only country who honors our veterans on November 11th. World War I involved more than one country. It was a multinational effort, so it makes sense that our allies also want to celebrate and honor their veterans on November 11th. The name of the day and the type of commemorations differ, however. Canada and Australia both call November 11th Remembrance Day. Canada's observance is pretty similar to our own, except many of its citizens wear red poppy flowers to honor their war dead. In Australia, the day is more like our Memorial Day. Great Britain also calls it Remembrance Day and observes it on the Sunday closest to November 11th, with parades, services, and 2 minutes of silence in London to honor those who lost their lives in war.
Hi, I think it's really important to honor our veterans, and specifically I'll look at some of the veterans in my family. I used to think when I was your age and we would have Veterans Day assemblies that these veterans were so very, very old, like World War II, and that's older than I am. And I came to realize that my uncle had served in the Vietnam War, and I just thought he was totally cool and traveled the world. And I realized as I got older what that meant in that service, to go ahead and to have those experiences and to understand the world on a very, very different level, something that I didn't understand, something as crazy as war and the politics behind war. And I thanked him for that service, and I did a lot of learning with that. My son-in-law has had served 2 tours in the Air Force, and now veterans are very young. Some of you are children of veterans in the current wars that we are having throughout the world. And we can't honor and respect and thank our veterans enough for fighting for the values of freedom throughout the world, and for us to have that opportunity to live within a country. Their sacrifice is our benefit. So thank you, veterans.
Hey, I wanted to share just a couple of things with you about Veterans Day. My dad was a Marine, and he actually fought in World War II. He fought in battle actually in the South Pacific from 1943 to 1946. And he was just on a boat, and they were about ready to invade another island. And then they had found out that the war had ended. Although my dad did have to go to the mainland, he had to stay there for, I guess it was at least 3 years. So he actually got out of high school early to be able to serve his country. So it's just really important to me, Veterans Day, how everyone has served and has sacrificed so much. I go to the Willamette National Cemetery each year during Memorial Day to honor veterans. But I think it's really important, and I think, again, just saying thank you for your service.
Skyhawks, Mr. Williams here. My pleasure today to talk about Veterans Day and what it means to me. First of all, just what Veterans Day means to me is a chance to celebrate all those who have served for our country and allowed us to live in this country of freedom. I don't know if we can ever thank veterans enough for that ability to do what we want to do in this country. So thank you to all those who have served. On a personal level, my brother was in the Army right after high school. So big thank you to my brother. Also, my father-in-law served in Vietnam, and my brother-in-law actually served in the Air Force, was stationed in Afghanistan for a little bit as well. So on a personal note, this day means a lot to me too, for those who served in my family. And then last but not least, my grandfather served in World War II and was at the Battle of the Bulge. So some interesting stories for that. So thank you to everyone who has served. If you know a veteran, please make sure that you thank them, not just on Veterans Day, but every day, because without them, we would not be able to do most of the things we do in this country. So thank you to all of our veterans.
Honoring the sacrifices many have made for our country in the name of freedom and democracy is the very foundation of Veterans Day.
We hope you learn more about the 11th of November. We also hope you will take the challenge to reach out, from a safe distance of course, and say thank you for your service to a veteran. Consider the sacrifices of our veterans and their families so that we can live in a free nation.
From all of us, thank you, veterans, for your service to our country. Be excellent, be present, make sure you are counted with attendance. Reach out to a teacher if and when you have questions.
Follow the Skype code, which means be safe, be respectful, be responsible, and be kind. Thanks for watching!